He's gonna make it clear. Did you know? Come on, listen here. Did you know?
Hello, and welcome to the Did You Know Show. My name is Brian Green, and I have the esteemed pleasure of being at the new location for No More Secrets with my very good friend, Lynette Medley Thurman, who is the executive director, the visionary, the founder. She pulls the train, she leads the march for No More Secrets, Mind, Body, and Spirit. We're at her new location, at their new location, because it's a whole team. As you can see, the last time that we interviewed Lynette, we were at their older location, which was a kind of a more modest situation. My, how things have changed. And I'm so glad, again, to be here. Lynette, welcome to the show again. How have you been? What's going on? I got so much to talk about. So, we got to put our we've been friends for over 40 plus years. You got to understand that. But to really make wise use of the time, tell us briefly, if you don't mind, No More Secrets, Mind, Body, and Spirit, and then let's get into the evolution of what has happened since the last time we spoke.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here, Brian, of course. So No More Secrets as a whole is a sexuality awareness organization where we basically give out resources and supports to decrease health disparities in our community, especially in marginalized populations. So the evolution of where we are now has been, oh my gosh, so No More Secrets was founded in 2012. So we started this work 7 years ago when we're talking about the period poverty campaign and addressing menstrual insecurities in our community. So that has been a 7-year journey. Wow. So it's been... How
did that start? Before you go, because I know how it started, but just tell the people, the viewers out there, how did how did it evolve even from mind, body, and spirit to sexuality, awareness, resources, to the period poverty?
Okay. Well, basically it was a linear movement because we were doing a lot of work around consent and bodily autonomy. That's when the Me Too movement had come out. And we were really, empowering our communities to respect their body and have autonomy over their bodies and be in healthy relationships. And in having those conversations with people in our community, so many young people were basically saying, how do you expect me to protect and respect my body when 1 week out the month I have to engage in high sexual activities, high risk behaviors, still because I can't get a pad or a tampon. So quickly it was a pivot, like, are you kidding? Is this something that's happening, not internationally, but right here in our own backyards? And in having conversations, young people basically said that they did not have what they needed to deal with their menstrual cycles. And again, they would stay in abusive relationships, high sexual activity, stealing, and just being in unsafe situations to be able to access menstrual products. So that's how we basically jumped over into this space.
You've taught me a lot about the menstrual cycle. Also, having a daughter, I've learned a lot too, personally. But what I did not realize is that how it affects people in disparity in the situations of socioeconomic disadvantage. You mentioned briefly that people have hypersexuality situations, but there are also people missing school.
Definitely. So people miss school, people lose jobs and lose wages. And also, people can't get medical care that they need, something that we all take for granted. So if you don't have the products that you need to go to school because you might leak through, you don't have bathroom access, you don't have the supplies, you lose educational time, you never can go to tutoring, you can't go to extracurricular activities, but also what people don't always think about is our lower socioeconomic jobs. You have to ask for permission every time you leave the floor. Every time you leave the register, every time you do anything. So to have to go use the bathroom when you don't have products, or you might be using socks or rags or maybe, pads that aren't the best quality, you're constantly bleeding through your clothes and your underwear because you can't leave. That privilege that many of us have at the positions that we, have at jobs where we can, they don't. So they say, we'll lose a job or we'll get fired if we walk off the floor. So
because you're embarrassed to ask.
You're embarrassed. Or sometimes when you do ask, they say no.
Wow.
We've had people who work at some larger corporations, and they're like, we've actually had to sit there and bleed through our clothing because they'll say, no, you can't leave the floor right now. And I think bathroom access is a conversation we don't have. Even teachers, we have students who have said, can I go to the bathroom again? You just went. Okay, well, some people have menstrual cycles who are irregular, and again, Black and brown communities have the higher level of fibroids, endometriosis, PCOS, which are all things that affect our menstrual cycles, which are heavier. So they might have to go more often, but people are not teaching non-menstruating individuals about the importance of bathroom access.
Wow. If you're just tuned in, I'm here with my good friend for so many years, Lynette Medley Thurman. She is the founder, the visionary of No More Secrets, Mind, Body, and Spirits. And so one of the things, too, that you've taught me over the time, and no knock on public schools, because both of us went through the public school system, to be transparent, and I support public schools. But it's my understanding in several of the public schools in the female bathroom, I would never know until I talk to you, that the menstrual cycle machines or whatever you would call them, dispensaries, a lot of times are empty or don't work.
They don't.
And then you taught me that if a young woman gets her menstrual when she's in elementary, she might be able to buy a pad from the school nurse if they have a school nurse. Am I saying it right?
Yeah, definitely.
Do I have it right?
Yeah, so in the schools, the public schools or the schools, they don't have access to menstrual products for free. That's not something that has been incorporated into their budgets, and it's not something that they've really been able to address on an ongoing basis. And unfortunately, if a young person doesn't have access to menstrual products in a bathroom, think about the instructional time they lose. So they'll get a note to go to the bathroom. You go to the bathroom, and again, the menstrual cycle is an involuntary process. I need to say that because I've talked to many non-menstruating individuals, and they'll say, oh, I thought they could hold it, until they went to the bathroom, not realizing that we cannot hold our periods. Girls, men, anybody who has a period cannot hold it. So you'll go not knowing it's on, and it's there. So you're putting tissue down there. Then you might have to go to the nurse's office, to the counselor's office, to wherever, borrow a pad to come back. Like, you learn how much instructional time that is. And that's a disadvantage to our communities, but they are not in our public schools. So we are trying to make sure that individuals have access to those products, but it's not something that they've thought of as a necessity for our students.
So for our elected officials that are listening, our decision makers, our people that handle the budget, it's one thing for you to really talk about textbooks, but I'm willing to bet for a good part of the population, which are females, we need to really consider really putting some money in the budget, at least in the public schools. The public schools are taking a beating right now because of the virtual learning. I can't even. I went through the public school system, and I got a lot out of it. So I'm a supporter and advocate of the public school education, and everybody should have the right to a free education, a good education. When I think back to all of our teachers back in the day, because we were in classes for a lot of times together, but just think about the class that we were exposed to over the years. The teachers now have a lot that they're faced with. In addition to COVID, obviously, we're in the COVID scenario. You got some people not wanting to support wearing a mask. I have my own opinion on that. But in addition to that, there's still some young women that are faced with having to make a decision whether they will go to school. And you also taught me something. When I talk to people now, and I'm so educated because of you, and I'm not bragging about the education so much as that it was an educating thing when you say women, young women, sisters, siblings, co-workers sometimes your cycles kind of sink.
Definitely.
They sink. And I didn't know that. I didn't even know it because it's not a conversation that I readily had. But how it affects children if they're siblings and they're going to school, if you don't have enough money for pads and both kids have their period, then they potentially might be missing school.
Definitely.
So,
and that's something that it actually has been happening for years.
Wow.
This has been a generational situation, epidemic that has not been talking about. So people have been suffering in silence. So when they have multiple siblings, they sink, and the mom or the caregiver can't afford food, clothing, electricity, rent, and menstrual products. Menstrual products are very expensive. Mm-hmm. So if you have multiple people to buy them for, you don't have it. So they said they'll rather just stay home and just bleed on, undershirts or rags or socks or whatever they can, instead of having the embarrassment of going to school and bleeding through their uniform. So just think about this cycle of poverty, and I just want to clear this up. So if I'm a person who has, a lower socioeconomic status, I might have one uniform or two, maybe one or two pair of underwear, maybe not a washing machine. So if I go and I'm bleeding through my clothes on an ongoing basis, then it's still preventing me from going to school because my mom can't wash them for a couple of days. I still am using. So it's this cycle of keeping people in poverty. So I think one of the things that we need to tell people is that Medicaid, Medicare, WIC, and SNAP do not cover menstrual products. It is considered a luxury item in our government. It's not seen as a medical necessity, and that needs to change. And it's ironic because the most common group of people who request products from the spot are teachers and nurses and social workers at the schools.
Wow. Let's talk about the spot. Let's take a quick break. Let's come back on the other side. Today's show has been brought to you by Always Best Care. So we're going to take a quick break, and we're going to come back on the other side and talk about the evolution. We're going to talk about the sponsors. We're going to talk about how you've moved and all that kind of thing. Don't go away.
Dad, you can't do this anymore. I think it's time to consider a nursing home.
But I don't want to leave my home, all my stuff.
But Dad.
How the...
Always Best Care is here to help.
With Always Best Care, we come to you and do anything you need to continue living at home with our care.
You really are a hero.
Let Always Best Care take care of your loved one. Everyone deserves the best care, always.
Let me help you with that, Mr. Smith.
Oh, thank you.
How did this get here?
You got one too?
Yeah.
Ah, new recruits? I'm sure you're wondering why you're here. This is our Elite Caregiver Super Training Center, and you two are the perfect candidates.
This is incredible.
I know, right? Ready to become an Always Best Care caregiver? Working for the best team with competitive pay? Join Team Green.
Always Best Care supports diversity. There's a hero in all of us.
Did you know?
Welcome back to the Did You Know Show. I am sitting here with my very good friend Lynette Metley Thurman, the executive director, the visionary, the founder of No More Secrets, Mind, Body, and Spirit. And I'm at the new spot location. Tell us where we're sitting at, Lynette. Tell us what's going on. What's the evolution?
I am so excited. So you are at the SPOT period. The SPOT stands for Safety Programming for Optimal Transformation. The SPOT is the first and only menstrual hub and uterine wellness center in the world that was actually just opened last February 20th, 2021. So it is a full-service drop-in center for menstrual health products, menstrual hygiene, and also menstrual health education and wellness. And right now you are sitting in the Breonna Taylor room.
Oh, wow. So what does that mean? What's that?
So the Breonna Taylor room is symbolic that, you know, many marginalized communities, including black women, aren't safe, even in their own homes or in their own environment. So this is a space for people to come and be vulnerable and get information. And this room was sponsored by Diva Cup International and Diva Cares, and you'll see a lot of our Diva Cups here. They're one of our sponsors. They gave us $5,000 to open up the Breonna Taylor room. We have futons, we have a television, we have toiletries, everything that our community needs to come and be safe, be vulnerable, and get the resources that they need.
So, okay, so we're in the room now. We see all types of menstrual products that was in the backdrop. Are you guys, you ladies, are you still doing deliveries, or has it kind of evolved and pivoted to people now looking you up and coming here between certain hours? How does it work?
Okay, so it's both.
Okay.
So we are a full-service drop-in center from the days that we're open. People can come in, pick out the products they need. You know, everybody gets a 5-month supply of products. We give out more menstrual products than any organization in the world. Currently, we're giving out over 52,000 products a week. Within the last 14th month, we've given out over 5 million products. So people come, choose what they need. The thing that many people have is this idea that if you're poor, you get what we give you. No, oppression doesn't alleviate choice, because if you don't get what is best for your menstrual cycle and your family, those same maladaptive behaviors are going to continue because we haven't solved the problem. So they come, get the bags, get their products, and they can go on their way. But we also do deliveries because we have some people who have cancer. We have people who are grandmothers who have 3 and 4 children. People who have disabilities. Not everybody can physically get here. And again, if you have multiple children, you might not be able to come. So we do still do deliveries. If we don't do them, we have volunteers who do them. And again, some people just aren't able to come, so we make sure that those people still get the products that they need.
Now, once you get a 5-month supply, can you come back? I want to ask a question 2 different ways.
Okay.
So, if a young woman or a social worker or a teacher, school nurse comes and gets some products, do you have different scales? Do you keep them on a mailing list? Do you have updates, you know, about what's going on? I don't know if there's any recalls. Like, my limited knowledge, there's something. I don't know if it's a folklore or anything like that. They said at some point that some products might have given some uterine cancer or something like that. I don't know.
Well, I think overall products as a whole, they kind of list that on the news or whatever if products change. But if we do find out about something, we'll definitely put it on our social media account, on our website, and all of that information to say, hey, this is going on with this particular product. But usually the community finds out stuff before we even find out, and they're like calling you and telling you. So definitely, but as the community comes and asks for certain products, if there is a change, we haven't had anything change since we've been open, but if there is some risk, but that's why we do not like open packages. So again, there are a lot of organizations out there saying they're fighting period poverty, and they're giving out these little brown bags with these loose pads and tampons. And to me, again, you don't know what brand it is. You don't know if it's expired. You don't know if you're going to have a reaction. So we have to be intentional about giving our community stuff that, again, if there is an issue, we can say, oh, well, what is the name on the box? What was the code? Like things that we can give those information about. So again, we do have everybody who gets products. We do have open conversations with them. Because again, they might get 4 to 5 months supply. They might have a cousin who moves in. They may have an aunt down the street. So they still need to have that level of communication with us to get other products for their families.
Okay, let's pivot a little bit. Well, first things first, I didn't know the products, menstrual products expired.
Yes.
Okay. I'm willing to bet some people are watching the show didn't know that either. But it's all about really education.
Definitely.
But then let's pivot, if you don't mind. Let's talk about potential donors. You are a 501c3.
Yes.
And so you do take in-kind donations, but lead us and walk us through. If you're looking at the bottom of the screen, you will see the contact information and the website and all of that kind of thing. But lead us through if somebody wants to donate. Because I stalk you on Facebook. And I'm so proud of you because I know I watched this from the inception, from the embryonic stages of you really getting this started. And I watched it pivot. Because at first, the whole mind, body, and spirits was creating safe haven for those folks that had some sexual awareness issues, right?
Definitely.
And you were really working through the college campuses and that kind of thing. And then I know, because I follow you, it pivoted because you stumbled upon people not having access to feminine products.
Definitely.
Okay. So now with donations, and the social media and TV and radio is power.
Yes.
And so lead us to how people can drop off stuff, how they can sponsor stuff, and all that kind of thing. Walk us through it.
Definitely. Well, they can definitely go on our website. All of our donation links are there. They can go to our GoFundMe. They can go to our Amazon wish list and pick out products and have them shipped directly to us. Or, again, they can just do a financial donation through PayPal or send a check. We are funded primarily through donations and private funders. We are not funded at all through the city of Philadelphia or any of its affiliates. So most of our financial assistance has been coming from the community and private donors. So again, we might have brands who sponsor products and give some fiduciary funds, but overall we are still dependent on the community to be able to finance us. So those are all the options. We also have Cash App, we have Venmo. You can do a sponsorship anytime. You can do drives. Many people are doing product drives for us.
What does that mean? What is a product
drive?
So
a product drive is you can be a library, you can be a school, you can be a community. You say, hey, we're going to collect products. Maybe they be menstrual products or toiletries, which is our biggest need in our community. And they'll do a drive and then they'll drop them off, or they'll just use our Amazon wish list and send it out to people to give products through that way. And that actually helps us fill our shelves and be able to give products to our communities.
I am so excited for you because, again, when you run a not-for-profit or you start one, a lot of people want to start, they don't know where to start. You really did the research. You did the heavy lifting. You have a heavy following now. There's always room for people to get in where you fit in. You know, I know Always Best Care, we have sponsored when we can, but we've also had a product drive. I didn't know what it was called. We did a product drive. We'll probably do another one, or coordinate another one, because, again, unbeknownst to me, I really didn't, as I'm willing to bet, a lot of people that are even watching this show now didn't know that this was this kind of disparity going on.
Definitely.
And if you're, and not to be chauvinistic, if you're a man, it really doesn't come into your sphere that often. If you have a daughter, you know, you deal with it in that kind of a deal. But to know that people can't afford pads or feminine products, that's heavy.
Definitely.
And it's not something you talk about, and then you know, sometimes it gets, I hate to say it, swept under the rug from people being embarrassed to deal with it. So kudos to you for shining a light on it. I'm happy to be in the Breonna Taylor room. This whole facility, how long have you been here now?
It will be a year, February 20th.
Wow.
We will be celebrating our 1-year anniversary, so we are so pleased to have this facility and the safe space for our community coming to access and products. But in addition to products, we also give menstrual health education and awareness. And one of the biggest things that people need to know is we opened this through a crowdfunding campaign last October. We did a GoFundMe. You know, it was the pandemic. We were basically doing about 80 deliveries a week. It hit up to about 275, 280. And one of the biggest things was our community didn't have access to Wi-Fi, computers, running water, operable toilets and bathrooms, in addition to menstrual products. So at that time, my daughter and I, you know, who both own this organization, said, let's do a GoFundMe. So last October, we did a GoFundMe to raise some money to open up the first menstrual hub in the nation. And in January, we raised $10,100. And we said, okay, we're going to move forward, you know, by the grace of God and by faith. And we opened up on February 20th. And the GoFundMe is still out there, and we still appreciate, you know, this is a community space because it actually has been supported by the community. You know, some people might say, oh, well, you don't have these people supporting you. We have supporting us who's supposed to support us because they understand what's going on. And I appreciate our community because we have monthly donors. We have people who donate $7 a month, $10 a month, $12 a month, and every little bit helps. So you don't have to have a lot of money, but $5 a month will help us because that will help somebody from going into the prisons, you know, going into a psychiatric hospital, staying in an abusive relationship just to be able to give menstrual products. And the way I correlate it is that we do drives all year long, food drives, clothing drives, all of these things because people live in poverty. So just think, if you think about all the people in the world that live in poverty, take 50% of that population and add on that they're also living in period poverty. So, you know, understanding that menstrual health and wellness is so important to our communities.
So let's talk a little bit about the if it's a support group or the mental awareness or you know, the menstrual awareness. How does that work? How often are you doing that kind of a thing? And then these days, I imagine it's probably virtual, but it may not be. I don't know.
No, actually, everything is still in person because, again, people can come here. You know, masks are required, but people can definitely come here. So Mondays, we have our nursing students here. We have a collaboration with Drexel School of Nursing. So they do their community health rotation through the spot. So every Mondays they're here to do wellness checks, check blood pressure, do referrals, do education. So we do classes on Mondays. We also have our Sunday Mythbusters sometimes, you know, on Sundays where people can come with their families and get education. And we also have a Oh My God Period class where young people can actually get information about menstrual health and wellness. So we do ongoing classes all the time. It can be on our calendar, on our website. We just, like you said, for MLK Day of Service, we had classes for moms and dads, for children. We had over 500 people come on that day to get products and get education. So one of the biggest things that continues to impact period poverty is the lack of education around the menstrual cycle. So the more we put it out there, from hosting first period parties to having these conversations, more people will talk about periods, and then people won't suffer in silence. And I think that's how we decrease the taboo and the stigma.
So I'm gonna go back probably 40 plus years to, you know, the early puberty days, and I remember the young women at that time talking about the Judy Blume book, Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret. Do you remember that book?
Yes, yes, that was the staple of everybody talking about their menstrual cycle.
And the guy, we stood on the peripheral of that conversation, like, what in the world is with Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret? Who was Judy Blume? So shout out to Judy Blume. But you know, that was kind of like, you know, you whispering, like, you know, girls were, you know, unbeknownst to us guys, you know, they were waiting. They knew that it was about that time that they were about to get their period. Did you get yours? Did you get yours? And we're like, what in the world is going on? You know, it's nice to hear, oh my God, period.
Yes.
You got it.
Yep.
Because I guess it is a coming of age kind of a thing for a young woman. And certainly, you know, it's you know, something different. I remember very clearly, you know, the conversation around it. But as a young man, obviously, I didn't know what they were talking about.
Definitely.
I had to pick up the book because I was curious to read
find
it,
out what it
to
was.
secretly read, Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret. Oh, this is what they're talking about. And now, as an adult, you know, and I do have a daughter. You know, you know, the first, and I'll share this. You know, she might probably kill me, but the first time I was alone when my daughter got her first menstruation, and so her mother was not available. It was on me, Everybody was in church except for us that particular day. It was a weekend that she was spending with me. And I remember as a man going to the CVS pharmacy and thinking I could handle this. And Lynette, I was so overwhelmed. I didn't know what to do, what to get. And I'll never forget, I got a couple of different products. And, you know, by the time I got home, and of course, now the phone is ringing. Like, oh, my God, you know, what did you do? What did you get? And I said, well, I got the long one with the wings and the wraps. And I'll never forget my mother saying, you're going to mummify her? As a guy, you don't know. I only share that not to embarrass, you know, but it was a really personal situation that I remember having so much respect for women. I had never really paid attention, honestly, if I want to be transparent.
Definitely.
I never paid attention to the feminine product aisle. Oh, that's where they go get their period supplies. I knew that was kind of dismissive, if you will. But when my daughter's turn came up and I was on deck,
it was time to step up.
It was time to step up. And I said, oh, my goodness, I didn't know it was this many. I was in the aisle reading. Something that was, as I think back to now, was really more funny than that was when I was standing in that aisle in the pharmacy, women were just reaching around me, reaching over me, and moving. Nobody thought to say, hey, you need any help? What are you doing in here? They probably thought I was a weirdo. Like, what are you doing in here?
Definitely.
But I was in that aisle, and I was reading. It had wings, it had clovers, it had a partridge in a pear tree. I'm like, what in the world? What do I do? But I'm so proud of you for really, you know, in such a classy way.
Definitely.
Such a way that you can be proud to say, you know what, this is a natural thing. And I like at the top of the show, the way you that stuck with me, what you said was involuntary.
Definitely.
You're going to get it eventually. And so you have to deal with it. And it's really a sad and a shame when people can't afford to do it. And I didn't know that a lot of our subsidies and assistance, public assistance, didn't cover that.
It does not cover it at all.
And it's considered a luxury item. That's something to lobby on. So, okay, let's take another break. I'm going to continue our conversation with Lynette Medley Thurman, but I'm also going to bring in her daughter, Naya, and I'm going to bring in one of your volunteers.
Definitely.
And we're going to continue the conversation and learn all about some upcoming events. Stay tuned. Don't go away.
Did you know?
Let me help you with that, Mrs. Jackson.
Oh, thank you, dear.
How'd this get here? You got one too?
Yeah.
Ah, new recruits? I'm sure you're wondering why you're here. This is our Elite Caregiver Super Training Center, and you two are the perfect candidates.
This is incredible.
I know, right? Ready to become an always best care caregiver? Working for the best team with competitive pay? Join Team Green.
Always Best Care supports diversity. There's a hero in all of us.
Did you know?
Welcome back to the Did You Know Show. I'm sitting here now at No More Secrets, The Spot. And I'm sitting here with Lauren Wilkinson, who is one of the current volunteers. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
So, you're from Philadelphia?
Yes.
And you went through Kappa, you graduated from Kappa School? Yes. Okay. And you're now a current student at?
Lincoln University.
Hey, Lincoln University, HBCU, hey. Went to Virginia State myself, okay. A lot of friends that went to Lincoln. How did you get involved with No More Secrets and The Spot, you know, that kind of thing? How did that happen?
So, actually, I was here volunteering for another organization, Generation Action, last year.
Okay.
And I was bringing donations for the annual drive that they do with No More Secrets. And, like, we started talking about, like, satellite hubs that she wanted to have and stuff. So I just was like, oh, we should start one up at Lincoln. So that's how, like, we created the bond. And then I started volunteering here over my breaks. Just, it's like, I love Naya and Miss Lynette. Like, they're so nice. And they remind me of my mom and my cousins. So I just was like, oh, yeah, so I want to volunteer here. So that's really how I got involved at the No More Secrets. But at the Spot, I really started coming when, like, I was helping them plan, like, events and stuff for here. So, yeah. That's really how I got involved.
So what do you? So then you just said a lot, but let's unpack it. So you created a hub. What does that mean?
Oh, so basically, No More Secrets like made the first satellite hub at Lincoln University, and I'm the president of the hub up there. So yeah, so that's what I mean when I brought the hub up there.
So do you have? So is it like products? Like okay, we're in the main. This is the main.
Yes, this is the
main place. So you have a smaller version of this at Lincoln.
Yes. So basically, like our hub is like the size of this room, and like we have like walls filled of like tampons donated from Lola that they sent to us from No More Secrets, and like sometimes I meet them at their storage unit and get some pads, wipes, and stuff for the students. And sometimes they drive up, and yeah, that's how we have it for the students up there.
Are you having any product drives up there for the students currently, or is that something maybe in the future?
Maybe in the future. We haven't had any drives yet, no.
Okay. So Lincoln, all right. So Lincoln allows this to go on. So as a volunteer, what else do you do? You mentioned, the planning of the upcoming events and that kind of a deal. So walk us through it. So if you were going to tell somebody that is probably watching this, that's thinking about volunteering, what would you tell them to expect?
So basically a day at the hub is like, okay, you come, the day starts around 12, and we come and we have people come pick up products. So I help them pack bags. I show them the tampon room, that's the Breonna Taylor's room, go to the pad room, have them fill up whatever they need. Sometimes if it's a slower day, I'll do outreach on the phone. Like last week I called a lot of schools about coming on Martin Luther King Day to pick up products for the school. So there's a lot of outreach, a lot of packing, and just learning more things about the women's body, just talking to Naya and Miss Lynette. Right.
So Lynette mentioned that you guys do the awareness, and we're going to come back to that conversation in terms of what I didn't know is that probably a lot of men come to get information too because they got their parents, sisters, brothers, that kind of thing. So you've been volunteering for a while. What's your major at Lincoln?
Nursing.
Oh, a natural fit.
Yes.
A natural fit. Do you have any, what kind of nurse do you want to be in terms of, do you want to do heart or you want to do pediatrics or what?
I would say right now, labor and delivery, midwifery, yeah.
OBGYN?
Yeah.
Okay, OBGYN, good luck. You want to be an LPN or RN or a CRNP or?
Right now, I'm going to graduate with a BSN to be an RN, but my end goal is to have my doctorate in nursing practice so I can actually teach. Yeah.
Right on. Well, stay connected with me. Please stay connected. I wish you all the best. And so, again, so you're here today volunteering. So do you also go out on the deliveries? Do you participate in that?
No, I haven't done any deliveries for the community. I just do deliveries for Lincoln.
Okay. For the hub. Okay. And then do you restock them? Are you restocking? Or you?
Yes.
You help with inventory?
Yeah.
You mentioned Lola. What's Lola?
Lola's an organic brand, menstrual brand that donated, I believe, 10,000 tampons to Lincoln. So yeah, I don't really know that much about Lola. I just know that they donated a lump sum of tampons to us.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for coming on the show, and thank you for giving us everything. You're delightful.
Thank
I wish
you.
I wish you all the best in your nursing career. Now, how much longer do you have at Lincoln?
I graduate in May.
Oh, wow. Right on. Right on. Right on. So, always best care hiring. Just saying. Just saying, we have to talk after you get. We don't do labor and delivery, we do senior care.
Okay.
But if you need to get your foot in the door to get some experience, let us know.
All right, thank you.
Well, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
All right.
Bye.
Stay tuned. We're going to come back with Naya McGlone, who is the co-founder, co-executive director, and we're going to have more information on the upcoming events. Don't go.
Did you know?
Let me help you with that, Mr. Smith.
Oh, thank you.
How did this get here?
You got one too?
Yeah.
New recruits? I'm sure you're wondering why you're here. This is our Elite Caregiver Super Training Center, and you two are the perfect candidates.
This is incredible.
I know, right? Ready to become an Always Best Care caregiver? Working for the best team with competitive pay? Join Team Green.
Always Best Care supports diversity. There's a hero in all of us.
Dad, you can't do this anymore. I think it's time to consider a nursing home.
But I don't want to leave my home. All my stuff.
But Dad.
Alva.
Always Best Care is here to help.
With Always Best Care, we come to you and do anything you need to continue living at home with our care.
You really are a hero.
Let Always Best Care take care of your loved one. Everyone deserves the best care, always.
Did you know?
Welcome back to the Did You Know Show. We're here at No More Secrets, The Spot. And with me, joining me on the show right now is Naya McGlone, who is Lynette's daughter. And she is the person making the sausage behind the scenes. She is the, let me get the title correct, the
Chief Operating Officer.
Chief Operating, the COO. And Lynette and Naya are the 1-2 punch. What's nice to see is that it's a mother and daughter scenario that have led this charge, and they've done it in such a classy way. Last time we were on the show, Naya was in the background working. Well, this time I insisted. It was me that insisted on Naya being a part of this because she is a very big part of it. In fact, when I send Lynette an email, if I want to get something done, I send it to Naya too. So that way it definitely gets on the calendar. It definitely happens. So as the COO, Naya, I know what you're doing, but if you can go into more detail, what do you do in a nutshell?
Basically, I'm the one running the organization. My mother is the picture face of the organization while I run everything in the background. I do the unpacking, I do the emails, I'm the one ordering the products, I'm the one introducing myself to the individuals. I even run a class for the young kids, for teens and tweens between ages 8 and 16, getting them into the STEM program. Basically, and also I'm the one who does the budgeting, and I'm the one that who knows how to say no when it needs to be said.
She mentioned that, and it's very important to have somebody that does say no, because your mother and I are a lot alike in that way, where we're givers. Right. And the center, or the balance, if you will, is to have somebody that doesn't have a problem saying no. And in my understanding, you play that role well. But let's unpack a little bit of what you just said. With regards to, one of the things that you didn't mention that I know you do is that you write and I mean it in a nice way, the beg letters. When you're approaching an organization, you're the one who sends the introduction letters to the organizations, correct?
Correct.
And so when you say the teens and tweens, what does that mean? What are you guys doing with that? What does that mean?
Well, I'm the one who do Reclaim Your Royalty. It's a program where I introduce young ladies between the ages of 8 and 18 into the world of science, such as STEAM and STEM, because I have a master's in animal poultry science. So I get them into these scientific areas, or areas that are not commonly known for our population of persons.
That's the truth. Because STEM is supposedly coming back, and I'm hoping that it comes back, because with the workforce shortages and certainly the candidate shortages, we need more kids to be interested in STEM. And so, with regards to this, what is the day in the life of unpacking? What is your whole warehouse situation like? Because when I walk through here, this is just the room. This is the Breonna Taylor room, and it's a beautiful backdrop. But audience, let me tell you something. This place, I don't know how many square feet it is, but it's boxes and boxes and boxes of feminine products, which I'm happy to see, because I remember how you guys started out. What do you see now? What do you see now versus when you first started it?
I see an accomplishment. It's like, even though the work that we do every day is it's hard and it's frustrating, but just coming in here is a sense of comfort, is a sense of, wow, we actually got to this point. Not from just us, but from the community. We were helped from the community. We would not be here without the community believing in our mission and believing in our vision for this to become a fruition.
Wow. Wow.
We came a long way from a little office. To me, it's amazing. And like every day, it's, you unpack boxes, you put the products on the shelves, then people come in, they clear off the shelves, and it's empty, then it's back to square root the next day. So let's go on to the community.
So I know, since you do the budget, can you tell us how many deliveries in a week do you guys accomplish?
Like 38,000. It's a lot. Like 38,000, and I think it increased to like 50,000. It's a lot. Wow.
That many delivery. Wow. I mean, so you guys had to have an army, and then people are now coming too. People are coming and picking up stuff too. So that aids it. Are you doing a checklist? Do you guys have are you in charge of the mailing list, not Naya?
Yes, I'm in charge of the mailing list. So the process is, people will send in the form, I mark up on the form, and there's two options. You can either get your items delivered, or you come on select days to pick up your products. When people come for products, they just give us a call on the select days. They come, get their products, and then when it comes to deliveries, we actually ask them what specific products that they need, and we give a 3 to 5 month supply for every person in the household. And usually when people send in the form, they only ask for one, and we have to get a conversation like, so how many people are in the household? oh, it's me and my 3 daughters. So what do your 3 daughters want? We give everyone an individual bag because this is the only thing in the world, and we don't want them to be without these products for 3 to 5 months for them to be able to reach their full potential. It's something that they don't need to be worrying about.
Do people often come back, Naya?
All the time, but they usually come back a little after 3 months. Like we had one family, we gave 3 to 5 months, and they come back to like a year after.
Oh wow!
So it's showing like it's working. It's working.
And I like to hear that because that tells me, an outsider, that people are not taking advantage.
Oh no. Mm-mm.
And
no,
people,
no.
and then I follow Lynette and Naya on Facebook, and I gotta tell you, I get the biggest full heart when I see people hugging on you, when I see organizations that are out there. You guys, and people that don't know, I know, they're out there, rain, sleet, snow, gunfire. You know, tell it. I don't.
Like ticks crawling up my leg, cockroaches, a wall of cockroaches, Lord have mercy.
You're going into some places that really sometimes are really modest, to say it nicely, situations. But you know, people respect that. So I'm glad to hear that the community is reciprocating on that, and they really do kind of treasure. I know from watching you, and that's why I invited you guys back on the show, because the Did You Know show is centered around connecting people to home, community, and business resources, voluntary resources that you ordinarily wouldn't know about. And when you see an organization that I can honestly say I've seen it start from the beginning, morph into like this situation, I have to push it. I have to push it. You know, I'm pushing it from my heart because you guys do it from your heart. What's the how many days is the spot open?
Now the spot is open Monday, Tuesday, and Thursdays, and Saturdays by appointment. But on Wednesdays and Fridays, those are our delivery days.
Okay.
Because we need to be able to stretch it out. Because before we were open Monday through Friday, and then we had to do deliveries. We were running ourselves dry.
Right.
We need time to be able to do the deliveries because we're still doing deliveries.
Right.
So we have the Monday and Tuesday and Thursdays, Saturdays by appointment because Saturdays are often on. We usually do Saturdays for our classes, but we always leave Saturday open. But on Wednesday and Friday, those are our delivery days.
Oh wow! And we're in the Germantown section of Philadelphia. You can look at the bottom of your screen and see the website and the phone number, but I can tell you we're at 4811 Germantown Avenue. This spot is just a great spot. So Saturdays, what kind of classes are you having? What time do your classes start?
Our classes start, I think, at 10 o'clock, and it runs for like an hour and a half. We usually have a class with PCOM because we have a partnership with PCOM. And the OBGYN Club, we have a group of nurses who do virtual classes, or they come and do virtual classes for our young ladies who come in from, I think the group is called the KYW Girls. We have partners with KYW Girls. It's a group of girls who come and learn about menstrual products, learn about health, learn about hygiene. It's just an overall general health and wellness session.
Now, of course, behind the both of us, there are menstrual products, but on the other side behind Naya, I don't know if we can see it, we can flash the camera on it later, you have all kinds of regular products like deodorant, Vagisil, you have body shampoos, all that kind of stuff. Well, how did that start?
Well, when we opened up the spot, of course we have the bathrooms, and we have the bathrooms because people need water. Well, we realized that when people were asking for products, they were coming in, of course, bleeding down their legs and stuff. But the issue was, we were giving them products, but they were still wearing the same filthy garments that they came in. So we're like, oh, wait a minute, they need underwear. So we started providing them underwear. They need to wash up, they need to clean up. So we ended up starting getting toiletries and items like that, because that's just another basic necessity for keeping healthy and just clean. Waste management is like, it's a deficit in most of these poverty areas, especially during the pandemic. Like, no one thinks about waste management. So that's how we're tackling it with asking for toiletries. The toiletries are like the biggest items that's like the driving force right now.
Get out. Wow, I did not know that. You learn something every day. Well, is there something that you want to tell the viewing audience, you know, in terms of your mission, how to support? From your words, I've heard from Lynette and I've heard from Lauren, but from Naya, the person behind the scenes, and I'm so glad to have you on here. If you're talking to people out there that may be thinking or a little nervous to call you, Even if you, and we can answer it in two parts. The first part is for the call to action for No More Secrets to Spot. What do you say to people? How should they approach this? What can they expect?
You should call us, and also what you should do is reach out to your community, see what they need, see what is best for them. Start your own menstrual hub. That's the best thing to do. Like, if you see a need in your community, go with it.
All right. And so, okay, now let's pivot a little bit. Let's get back to the teens and tweens. For my STEM students, and what do you say to them?
If you want to get into the science field, you can do it. Self-esteem is key. You can do whatever you want. Reach for the skies. Don't reach down here. If you see a dream and you want to shoot for it, shoot as high as you can, because you can always trickle down, but shoot as high as you can. And believe in yourself, and there are people around. If you need help, reach out to us. I'm here.
All right. Wow. Okay. Let's take a quick break. We'll come back on the other side with Lynette. I think I might want to keep you here. Your energy is a boost. All right. All right. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. Right on. You burnt it out.
Let me help you with that, Mrs. Jackson.
Oh, thank you, dear.
How'd this get here? You got one too?
Yeah.
Ah, new recruits? I'm sure you're wondering why you're here. This is our Elite Caregiver Super Training Center, and you two are the perfect candidates.
This is incredible.
I know, right? Ready to become an Always Best Care caregiver? Working for the best team with competitive pay? Join Team Green.
Always Best Care supports diversity. There's a hero in all of us.
Did you know?
Wow, as we round down this show, we're going to have to figure out a way, the two chatty Cathys, to really figure out, to unpack a lot more information. Lynette, talk to Lauren, your volunteer. Talk to Naya, the COO, that boost of energy. I didn't see that coming, but okay. As we round down the show, I want to talk about, as you have morphed, what's next? What's next? You know, I know you've talked about, you know, the classes. You're talking about research. You got collaborations with Drexel. Like what? Okay, let's start with the research. What's going on with the research?
So we are so fortunate to have partnered with two academic partners from Thomas Jefferson University. One of our partners, Dr. Allison Casola, our research is done. We actually have just been approved for our paper to be published, so it'll be coming out in the American Journal of Public Health in March.
Oh, wow.
And so we have other ones that actually being approved. So I'll let you, find out about those later. And also, Dr. Moore from Thomas Jefferson, we are actually starting our research partnership. We had to do some trainings in advance to be able to do this research, and it's starting this February. So we are so excited about that. Yeah, so that's the research piece. But you're talking about collaborations. We are so excited to partner with my alma mater, Drexel University.
Right
of course, their nursing program actually does their clinical rotation site here every Monday to give, free health and wellness services to our communities, our vulnerable communities, and also we've been able to partner because we have actually put some satellite, at some of their satellite sites, we've actually put some products there to be able to help their community.
So wait, don't just skirt over that. You got nurses coming here and doing their rotation here on Mondays?
Yes, and last semester we had University of Penn and Drexel University on Thursdays.
Wow, that's heavy. That's come so far. And it's appropriate.
It is. It is
appropriate because every time I come here, I learn something, that I didn't learn before. Mm-hmm. I didn't realize, just talking to Naya about you got deodorant and you got cream, because you guys have evolved as you interact. One of the best things I like about this organization is that there's no way for it not to remain grassroots. And in grassroots, there is direct communication and interaction with the receivers on the other end and with the community. And so you don't just stay in one lane, you're kind of evolving to the need.
Definitely.
And, evolving to the need, I'm thinking to myself, okay, well, I see all the feminine products, but now I see deodorant and, body cream, all that kind of thing. You guys are really stepping into that. And along with that, you have organizations that really should include that in the curriculum. I'll give you, for instance, a lot of times I'm on the advisory committee for 1199C. And one of the things we tapped on, and we talked about the curriculum. You know, for my lane is obviously senior care and dealing with home care. And so one of the things I always bring up to people in the curriculum is soft skills, particularly when you're dealing with people with dementia and or aging, because you only age once, and nobody is an expert at it. So soft skills in a way of good morning, good afternoon, treating people like you would want to be treated. Pivoting to now No More Secrets, you know, you have to keep the curriculum fresh for people that are dealing with that, because a lot of people didn't realize that this disparity, some people knew, but they didn't know how to attack it.
Definitely.
You've given it a foundation. One of the things that Naya said that I want you to kind of expound on was, you know, creating different hubs. Create your own hub. What, you know, in your vision, is that something that you wish people would do? Because this right now is the only one.
Yes,
this
definitely.
one is the satellite one in Lincoln, but, you know, are we going to, you know, push for people to do it around the world?
Definitely. We are definitely looking to expand. We are looking to collaborate with people to actually start a semi-franchise of what we've created, because we've created the model. So, of course, we have one at Lincoln. We actually just started one that's going to be opening soon at Cheney University and at North Carolina Central University. So those are some of the HBCUs that we are actually expanding to be able to have these services, because we know marginalized communities, BIPOC, Black communities, you know, deal with more socioeconomic issues, racial disparities, and, you know, social constructs that prevent them from reaching their full potential. So if not having a pad or tampon is preventing, or a menstrual cup or period underwear is preventing them from getting their degree, then we have to do something about it. So my goal is to expand, but to expand it in a way that we have. It's not just the products. We have to look at menstrual health as a system of care. And that's the thing that No More Secrets has done, that no one has done. Looking at it as a system of care means, okay, this is a wellness continuum that has to be addressed, whether it's, you know, health care, you know, examinations, information, and then the products, instead of saying throw them some products and then they'll be okay. And that's why it hasn't been intersected. And our model is so important, because it gives them all of the information to allow them to be able to reach their full potential.
Wow. So what's next? What do you have coming?
Well, I'm going to announce it here, because I haven't announced it to anyone else. We are actually introducing the first mobile menstrual health unit in the world that will go live in March.
Wow, really? Oh, wow, that's supernatural. Right on.
Yeah, so what we've realized is it'll be the combination of the drop-in center, but also the menstrual mobile. We did a fundraiser, and we thank the community. We raised $20,000, but of course we needed more. So private funders and actually some organizations, I have to tell who it is. It's August, Diva, Period.co, I wanted to mention you guys, are some, Mom Edit are some of the organizations, the PAD Project, who have actually been instrumental in getting some other funding to us so that we can get money towards our mobile menstrual unit. And it will be going live hopefully by March, if the vehicle is ready by then.
Wow, that is heavy. That is heavy. Thank you for announcing that. So, you know, of course, always Best Care is going to have to jump in there some kind of way. We're going to make another donation.
Yes, you will. Because it's going to be, it's almost like, you ever hear of like mobile dental units? Where
yes.
So it will be actually a van that will have all of the research and information. And I have to put this plug. We've created the first co-branded menstrual health and period product information with a managed healthcare system, which is Aetna. It's over there. Information with Aetna and No More Secrets. We actually have literature, and that information is going to be on there, in addition to if we have our nurses, if we have other physicians from our medical board, or anybody on the van to give information, or just me and Naya and volunteers. So we're giving resources, education, in addition to information.
Wow, wow. And so I'm going to have you on the radio show too now.
Yes,
yes. Locally, you know, it's so good. I've said it over and over again in this episode, to see this kind of organization morph. Did you ever think it was going to get this big?
I don't. I think I'm still in a dream. You know, I always say, because people be like, what was your business plan? What was the difference in what we did and what most people do? We didn't have a plan. It was led by the community. Like when we first started, it was like, oh, we need products. Oh, we're going to create a bank in our office. The community was like, we can't get to you. So that's when we started the delivery service. And the community was like, great. COVID hit. Oh, we need more. We need bathrooms. We need So we've expanded based on the need of the community. So I think that's why we're so successful. It's not our perceptions. We're listening to their realities. And from addressing their realities, the community is like, okay, this is different. It's making a change. And that's what the impact is so different.
Wow. Lynette, where do we go from here? So, next time we come here, you're going to probably be in a big warehouse. Like that was, this place right here, do you know how many square feet this place is?
2,500 square feet.
2,500 square feet.
And on site, we have a computer lab. We have therapy offices. We have bathrooms. We have a Breonna Taylor safe space room with futons, a television, underwear, a kitchen where we have a cocoa bar and food, everything that someone needs to feel safe and escape the violence that's going on in our community.
There's a lot of that, unfortunately. When you come here on Saturday, I haven't heard anything, and I think I know the answer to it, but I think people are thinking about it. When you come here for classes on Saturday, is there a cost associated with that?
No, everything is free.
So you just come in and you really, you sit through the class, and Nia mentioned it, and I'm going to ask you, but it's not just for women, right?
No, it's for anybody who wants the information.
And wants the information, because you had those files. I took Nia, took you, and took Nia through my experience.
Mm-hmm.
Again, if people reaching, that kind of thing. One thing we said at the end of that off camera was nobody thought to ask me whether I needed any help.
Definitely.
And I absolutely did. I didn't have any rhyme. I had no frame of reference, and really it was. And as I look back, I've expounded on that knowledge, and I've given women more credit than I thought. Like, wow, like this is something that you have to go through. It's, to use your phrase, it's non-voluntary.
Yeah.
It's not something that you can volunteer to get or not get. And so go ahead.
And I think because society has strategically separated us in all conversations around menstrual cycles. Every time they would talk to the females, they would move the guys to the side. So if you think about it, you have a whole population of people who don't have any awareness or understanding about it that you want to now accept and understand and be able to support. So that's the problem. So if we have these conversations together, fathers, brothers, just men in general, then we would be able to, fight period poverty, menstrual insecurities, and the taboo and stigma all together. Because again, if they're put out the room, then of course they're thinking it's something that they shouldn't talk about or address. And I think that's the difference that we do, that everybody is talking about it.
Wow. So as we kind of wind down the show, I'm getting a signal from my producer. As we kind of wind down the show, what didn't we cover that you want to make sure that people know about? We've announced the mobile. I can't wait to see that. That's going to be the bomb.
It is.
I got to keep my mouth shut about it, but on the TV show we get this done. But what else can we tell people? Again, I asked Nia and I asked Lauren, volunteering and that kind of thing. But when you talk about donating, you've got sponsors, but there's room. I'm pretty sure there's room for more sponsors.
There's a lot of room for. We spend $8,000 a month to run the spot.
Wow.
And that is not even including toiletries. So we definitely need financial support, donors, sponsors, and all types of things, because again, this never stops. Everybody has menstrual cycles, everybody in their families, every month. So that's one of the biggest things that we definitely need. We definitely need underwear and toiletry items. People give menstrual products, but we also need we don't have any sponsors for any toiletry items. So lotion, deodorant, we don't have any sponsors for those type of things. So if you are somebody who says, hey, I'm not comfortable collecting menstrual products like pads and tampons, definitely donate underwear or toiletry items. But again, put us as one of the organizations that you give to every year. I was calling out organizations that, MLK Day, you see all these affluent organizations flock to marginalized communities and their businesses to donate and do something for a day, but you're not supporting them on an ongoing basis. You're not supporting an annual event. You're not choosing them as a donor organization or a monthly recipient. Change the narrative and give to our grassroots organizations that actually are here all year long doing this work and not shutting down when some of the others do on our communities.
Thank you so much for coming on to the show. This has been the Did You Know Show. I had a lot of fun with my friend. We're going to have on a radio show. And speaking of the radio show, you can check me out on WURDradio.com on Saturdays at 96.1 FM or 900 AM or wordradio.com. The Did You Know Show is sponsored by Always Best Care Senior Services. Check us out at teamgreenabc.com. Lynette And team, thank you for coming on to the show.
Thank you for having us.
I really enjoyed this conversation, and we look forward to all the good things in the future. We're going to have you back. When we get this mobile thing, we probably do the next interview on the mobile.
We will. That's going to be great.
That'll be the bomb. All right, everybody, take care and have a great day.
Did you know he'll help you understand? Did you know always a right-hand man? Did you know he's gonna make it clear? Did you know? Come on, listen here. Did you know